book of Philippians is called the book of joy. Why? Well, when you read the book of Philippians, you're going to find that the word joy or rejoice is written 16 times. That means the word joy is woven throughout all the chapters. And if you know the life of Paul, the author of the book, you'll be wondering, why would he write about joy when he's put in jail, in prison, facing death, where it's cold and where it's damp? All your privileges are taken away from you. Hardly anything to eat and drink. He was really facing certain death. Now, he was not on a cruise ship, sipping on a nice cold iced tea, saying, "Rejoice in the Lord always. And again, I say rejoice." And he was not sitting in a warm home watching a good football game. He lived a life of joy as an example to show us that we too can live the life of joy in all circumstances. Now let's look at this verse, Philippians 4:4. It says, "Rejoice in the Lord always, and again I will say rejoice." There are three beautiful points of interest real quickly we want to go over. First of all, it is a command. It is a command for us to be joyful, and it's very clear. Now, how could God command us to feel joyful? Wait a minute. God didn't command us to feel joyful, but to be joyful. You see, rejoice is a decision that really leads to an action, and the action leads to an attitude, and the attitude leads to joy. Did you notice that this verse does not say, "Complain in the Lord always, and again I say complain"? Or does it say, "Criticize in the Lord always, criticize, and again I say criticize"? No, it says, "Rejoice in the Lord always, and again I say rejoice." When God commands us to rejoice, He empowers us to obey His command. Let me explain it this way. My father came to me when I was young, and we had a big yard to cut. He came to me and says, "Dan, I want you to cut this yard every week." Well, that was a command. But the problem is this. I didn't know how to cut the grass. I didn't have a lawnmower. I didn't have any money to buy gas. Now, how am I going to do this? So my father knew this. So he took me down to Sears and Roebuck, and he bought me a brand new lawnmower. And he and I sat on that seat, and we saw how beautiful it was. And he showed me the gears, how to operate it. And then on the way home, he bought me a nice, great big can for my gas. And then he took me out into the yard, and he took me off to one little round, way down and back, and he says, "This is how you cut the grass." You see, my father not only gave me a command, but he empowered me. He gave me the equipment to be joyful. And he showed me how. And he talked with me. And he took his time to give me all the equipment that I need. And when he commands us to be joyful, he will empower you to obey his command. Now, the second great wonderful point about this is not only is it a command for us to be joyful, but the circumstances for our joy. It says, "Rejoice in the Lord." What does that middle word say? Always. The Greek word for always means all the time. Not only in the good times, but in the bad times. My son called me the other day and he says, "Dad, I'm broken down. I'm in Florida. My wife is with him, and he's in a wheelchair, and he can't do things. His hand controls broke. A great big popping sound, snap, it went. He slowly cruised to the edge of the road, real slowly, and he sat there, and he called me. "What am I going to do, Dad? I am 9 hours away from him." But I thought to myself, Here he is supposed to be joyful in all things. In all things. If you lose your job and told somebody else has bought the company out and you don't have a job anymore, you got to be joyful. If you're called and you're told that you're dying of cancer or your heart attack, you're supposed to be joyful. It says, rejoice in the Lord always. Not once in a while, but always. If things are not going well at home with husband and wife, with daughter, son, grandchildren, rejoice in the Lord always. I had a friend of mine that set his alarm clock on the hour. And he did this as a checklist, just for that one day. And he told me, I set it on the hour every day. And then every time that alarm went off, I checked myself to see if I was grumpy. Or was I depressed? Was I sad? Or was I joyful? So the word joyful is not only a command, but it means continue. And the last point is the cause for our joy is found in this verse. Look at the cause. It says, rejoice in the Lord. Oh, circumstances can separate you. You see, also, other things can separate you and you lose that joy. You need to be in the continued mode of worshiping God. The reason why we don't have joy is because we allow other things to come between us. See, our joy is in Christ because he never changes. Joy is a command. Joy is continual. And the cause for our joy is in Christ.